Hello friends, welcome to Rajesh Data Engineering. In this video, once again, I'm going to discuss about one of the coding interview question using programming languages PySpark and Spark SQL. Spark SQL is compatible with most of the traditional databases because it is following ANSI standard. So the same SQL, Spark SQL answer can be given for any SQL interview question. Right. For this particular interview question, I'm going to use most of the functions like lead, lag, when otherwise, that is equivalent of a case statement in SQL, and coalesce, that is used to select first non-null value from a series of columns. This interview question, this is one of the leading coding exercise. The number is 626, and also this is asked in most of the FANG company interviews like Google and Amazon interview questions. I have already posted videos related to the functions that I'm going to use in this coding exercise. So I have already posted a video on window functions lead and lag. The video number is 71. In case you want to get more understanding, then you can watch that video. And also I have posted another video on the functionality of when otherwise in PySpark. The video number is 12. In case you want to get more clarity, you can watch that video. Let us understand the problem statement first. Let's say we are having input table which is having two columns, ID and student. Coming to ID, that is nothing but seating ID. So the student Alice is sitting in the seat number 1, and coming to Bob is sitting in seat number 2. Similarly, we are having 5 records. So this is just a sample data set, but in real time we might have many more records. So the solution that we are creating, that should be applicable, that should be able to handle any number of records, right? Now the coming to the requirement, we have to exchange the seats between two adjacent students. So coming to the first one, now these two records should be swapped. So Bob should come to the first seating and Alice should go to the second seating. Similarly, coming to third and fourth, David should come to third seating and Charlie should come to fourth seating. And coming to the last record, we don't have any pair. So we don't have any further seating. So we have to keep the same student in the same seating. So this is the requirement. In case we are going to have one more record 6, then we can easily swap uh, 5 and 6. But in this example, we are having only 5 records. So we are going to swap first 2 students. Then after that third and fourth and 5, we are going to keep it as it is. I hope you understood the requirement. Right. In order to solve this problem, as usual, we should not immediately jump into the programming side. First, we have to start thinking in analytical way. We have to think how we are going to approach this problem in real time. In case in a classroom, teacher is asking the students to exchange their seating, then how it can be ordered. So that we have to think. So mentally, we have to approach this problem. That is the first step. And also for any problem, we have to split the problem into multiple smaller pieces. Then we have to solve all the smaller pieces one by one. Then finally we will be able to solve the problem. This is not only for SQL exercise, even this is the same for our real-time problem. When we are getting big problem, don't get panic. You can divide that into multiple smaller pieces. Then it will be easy to solve smaller pieces, and finally we are going to solve the problem. Right. Coming to this problem, first of all, in case this is going to be a real-time scenario, one teacher is going to ask the students to exchange their seating. Then simply the teacher can order people. You can change the seating. Then students can understand easily. They can swap the seating. But coming to this scenario here, one programming engine has to perform this task. So we have to give certain instructions to the engine so that the engine can understand and it can swap the seating. So for that, what we can do? So here, the thing is, we have to tell, first two students, you change your seating respectively. The first student go to the second seating, and second student come to the first one. Similarly, we have to tell third one go to the fourth seating, and fourth student come to the third one. So this is fine if you are having less number of students, but in real time we might have more number of students. So it's not possible to give instruction to each pairs of student. So what we have to do is, mentally we have to think, how we can give some standard formula, some common pattern through which the programming engine can understand it and it can swap the seating. For that, in order to solve this problem, there could be many approaches, but in this exercise, I will show a couple of approaches. So the first approach, what I'm thinking is, what in our mind would think is, so we have to give instruction to all the students. So let's say here, if you look at the pattern, okay, we have to analyze the pattern. So the first student should go to the next seating, and the next student should come to the previous seating. This is the pattern. So the third one, go to the next seating, and coming to the fourth one, go to the previous seating. So this is the pattern we have to follow for how many students we are having. For everyone we need to follow the same pattern. So the first student, go to the next one, next student, go to the previous one. So this is what we have to play around. So go to next seating, go to previous seating. So this is the common pattern. So for all the odd numbers of students, all odd numbers of seating, we have to tell go to the next one. Coming to all even numbers of sitting, go to the previous one. This is going to be the standard pattern. And now you try to apply the same pattern for all the students and it will produce correct result. So this is a odd number, which means go to the next seating. So this student, go to the next one. And coming to the next record, Bob, this is the even number, then go to the previous seating. Previous seating is 1, then Bob is going to seat number 1. So coming to same, Charlie and David. Okay, this is the odd number, go to the next one. This is even number, go to the previous one. And coming to the last one, no, this is odd number, then it will try to go to the next seating, but we don't have any seat. Then it is going to produce null value. So for that, what we can do is we can use collage function. Collage function, basically it will pick first non-null value. So in this case, what we have to do is, in case we are going to get null seating for any student, then consider the actual value only. So for that, first we are going to give next value. In case next value is null, then pick the corresponding the actual value of the student. That is what we are going to perform here. I hope you understood. So basically we are approaching mentally how we are going to solve this problem. So we got a common pattern. The common pattern is, we are going to give an instruction to the programming engine. In case the seating number is odd, then the corresponding student should go to the next seat. And if the seat is even number, then the corresponding student should go to the previous seating. This is the one common formula. So how we are going to achieve this through programming? Now once we have found this common pattern, now our mind should start thinking programmatically. I have to give the same instruction to the programming engine. How we can do that? So first of all, what I'm planning is we have to find the previous value and next value for all the students. So for all the records, we are going to find what is the previous student, what is the next student. So we are going to give the instructions. Once that is done, then easily, based on the odd or even number, we can pick either previous student or next student. Then that is going to solve the problem. So the first step is we are going to break the solution into multiple pieces. So the first step is for each student, we have to help, what is his or her previous student and next student. That information we are going to find for all the students. So at the end of that process, we will get output similar to this one. So if you look at second record, let's say Bob. What is the previous student for Bob? That is Alice. So we are going to create a column previous student that will hold the value Alice. And coming to same Bob, what is next student? Then that is Charlie. So in this way, we are going to produce next and previous student for all the records. That is the first step. Now, in the next approach, what I'm going to do is, this is the table that we have produced in our previous output. So here, I'm going to follow the pattern. In case the seat number is odd, then that particular student should go to the next row. So here I have given, let's say, this particular record. Okay, this is seat number is 2. That is even. Even means it should go to the previous student column. The previous student, go to the corresponding value Alice. Take that value and put it here. And coming to the next value, this is the third, seat number is third. In case it's odd, then it should consider the next student. Go to the next student value. And from that, go to the corresponding value, that is David. Then take that value and put it here, David. This is how we are going to give the instruction to the programming engine. In case it's a odd number, take the next value. In case it's a even number, take the previous value. This is the logic we are going to perform, right? And at the end of that process, we are going to get the expected result. So here, this is original setting, this is the exchanged setting. So in the original, Alice was sitting in seat number 1. Now it is changed to seat number 2. Coming to Bob, it is going to seat number 1. So this is the final output that we are getting. So this is the expected output. I hope you understood the problem statement and how to approach mentally that you understood. Now let's get started with the demo. In the demo, I will explain you how to achieve the solution using PySpark and Spark SQL. I have logged into my Databricks environment. My cluster is up and running and I have created a notebook for this exercise. Now I can walk through. This is one of the lead code SQL exercise, and this is also one of the commonly asked question in FANG companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Facebook. Right. The first step, I'm going to create sample data for our exercise. So in this step, I'm creating the data, and using that, I'm creating the data frame. Let me execute and we can see the data for our reference. This is the same data set that I have shown in the PowerPoint. Right. Now, as per our approach, we have to create next student and previous student for each record. For that, I'm going to use window function lead and lag. So using lead and lag, easily we can find the previous value and next value. In order to find the previous value, we have to use the function window function lag. So in order to use window function, we have to import the library window that I have done here. And our original data frame, then I'm adding a new column previous student using with column function. Then I'm using the lag window function. Within that, I want to find the next or previous student. That's the reason I'm giving the column student, and the window I'm giving order by ID. So based on the ID, I want to create the previous and next column. Right. Then in this first step, I'm creating the previous student, and the next step, I'm adding a new column next student. I'm using lead function here. So basically, lead function will fetch the next value. So using a window function lead and lag, I have created my previous and next value. Let me execute so we can see the output for our reference. So it's completed. Here we can see initially we had only two columns, ID and student. Now we have added two more columns, previous and next. So for first student, Alice, we don't have any previous value. That's the reason it is producing null value. But Alice has next value. So Bob is coming as a next one. So the same applicable for fifth record. We have the previous record David, but we don't have any next record because this is the last record. So we are getting null value for next student. Right. Hope you understood. Now, as I explained in the slide, based on the logic of odd or even number, I want to apply either next value or previous value for each student. It will swap the seating. So what I'm doing is I'm going to add a new column, exchange the seating. So after performing the swapping, how it would look like. So for that, I'm using when otherwise statement. Here we can see when there are two when classes and one otherwise. So in the when, what I'm doing is I'm going to divide the ID, student ID by 2, and I'm going to find the modulus. In case, whenever I'm dividing this ID by 2, it is going to produce the remainder as 1. Then, which means this is odd number. So for odd number, we have to consider the next student. The next one, okay, this ID divided by 2 equal to 0, which means the remainder is 0, which means the number is divisible by 2, which means that is even number. So in case even number, then consider the previous student. So this is the straightforward logic that I explained in the PowerPoint. And why I am using coalesce for the last record, we don't have any further record to exchange the seating. So it is going to produce null value. So in order to avoid null value, I'm going to put coalesce. So it will pick first non-null value. So I'm giving two values. One is a next value. In case next value is null, then take the actual value as it is. So that's the meaning of that. That's the reason I have used coalesce. So I hope you understood the usage of when otherwise and coalesce. So let me execute, then we can see the output here. Execution is completed. Now here we can see our original ID and original seating. After performing the exchange, this is the seating. Here we can see. Now first one, the after exchanging, it will be Bob. Coming to second seating, it's going to be alias. Here you can clearly see, both are exchanged. So the same applied for all the records. And coming to the last record, we are maintaining the same record as it is because I have applied coalesce. In case I haven't applied coalesce, then it is going to produce null value. Right, now we have achieved our output. Now what we can do is, now we can remove this unwanted column. Then finally we will have only the ID and student. Same like our original table. So that I am performing in this step. Let me execute. Here we can see ID and student. So originally Alice was sitting in the seat number 1 and Bob was sitting in the seat number 2. Now it got changed. And same for all other records as well. So this solution will handle for any number of records. I hope you understood. Now I'm going to change the requirement little bit. So in this case, what we have done is we have done the swapping for all the students. But let's say due to some reasons, the teacher wants to exchange the seating only for the first students. Then what we can do? So for that, we are going to follow the same logic, but in order to swap, we are using the logic of finding odd number and even number. Instead of that, directly what we can do is, we can find the seat number 1, then take the next student. In case the seat number 2, then take the previous student. That is going to be straightforward logic that I'm applying here. So here, what I'm doing is I'm importing window function. I'm finding lead and lag function. Then I'm adding new column. Then after that, in the when otherwise class, I'm doing, in case the seat ID that is 1, then consider the next student. In case the seat ID that is 2, then take the previous value. It's going to be straightforward solution. I hope you understood. Let me execute this step. Here if you see, this is the original seating, this is the exchanged seating. Here we have done the exchange only for the first students, and all other students we are keeping it as it is. So we are not touching. So in case the interviewer is changing the requirement little bit, then you should be able to manage that as well. Right. Now, so far, I have explained the solution using PySpark solution, but I'm going to use a Spark SQL for the same problem statement now. So for Spark SQL, in order to use a Spark SQL, first of all, we have to convert the data frame into view or table. So in this step, I'm going to create the data frame. I'm going to convert the data frame into view. The view name is student. Now I can use this view for my SQL query. So for SQL query, it's going to be same logic that I have explained in PySpark, but in the PySpark, we have splitted the task into multiple smaller steps, and we developed the logic one by one in different cells. But coming to SQL, we have to develop the solution in single cell. So here what I'm doing is I'm selecting the data from students table, and here I'm just selecting the original seating, the ID and original seating. Here I'm using case statement. That is similar to when otherwise in PySpark. So within the case statement, I'm using when class in case ID that is odd number, then take the next value. This lead function, it is going to give the next value. In case that seat that is even number, then take the previous value. I'm using lag. Lag is going to give the previous value. So I am applying the entire logic in single SQL statement. This is going to produce the same output. So let me execute this step. Hope you can see the output here. Here ID, this is the original seating. This is the exchanged seating. Now it has produced the same output that we have produced in PySpark. So here the key is we are using window functions, lead and lag, and also coalesce in order to handle the null value, and we are using case statement in order to find the pattern, in order to apply the pattern of odd and even. Coming to the customized version of this question, I mean, we have to exchange the seating only for first and second student. Then in this when class, we have to change. In case the ID is 1, then take the next value, lead. In case the ID is 2, then take the previous value. It's a straightforward approach. So let me execute. Here we have achieved the solution. So the seating got changed only for the first students, and we haven't touched for next 3 students. Right. In some situations, interviewer might ask you to produce a solution without using window function. So For that as well, I'm going to give some approach here. So for that, what we can do is, without using window function, we can achieve the same solution using self join. So what I'm doing in this step is, we are having the original table, that is students. So I'm going to join this three times. Okay, S1, this original table. I'm going to join the same table S2, but I'm going to use the ID, okay, the current ID with the previous ID, this id minus 1. Same, I'm going to perform once again self join, that I'm going to put id plus 1. So in order to get the previous value, I'm using the join of id minus 1. In order to get the next value, I'm using the joining value of id plus 1. So it is going to produce the next value and previous value for each student. And after that, we can use the case statement. It is going to be same approach. So let me execute this step so that you can understand how it works. Here we can see we got the same output. So earlier we used to get the same output using window function lead and lag. So here, without using lead and lag, I just used only the self join. Using the self join, we have produced the same output. So after that, we can apply the case statement. You can refer above output. Then based on that, we can um, achieve this solution. Right. I hope you understood the problem statement and solution. And also I have customized the requirement little bit, and we produced output for that also. Now I'm going to give one exercise for you people. In case you find the answer, you put it in the comment box. In case you could not solve, ask me in the comment so that I can give the answer in the comment section. Right. Coming to the same input table, the teacher wants to exchange the seating randomly for two students. Let's say the teacher wants to exchange the seating between the student Alice and David. Okay, it's number 1 and number 4. Then how we can achieve that output? So this is going to be our input data. After performing the exchange, we have to get David should come to the first record, and Alice should go to the fourth record. This is the requirement. You can try out this one on your own, and if you achieve the solution, put it in the comment box, or you need the solution, I can put it in the comment later. I hope you enjoyed this coding exercise. If you like the content of this coding exercise, please like and comment in the channel. Please subscribe this channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button to get latest update on Databricks and Spark. Thank you.